Have you ever walked into a room only to forget why you went there in the first place? Or maybe you found yourself searching for the right word in conversation, feeling as if it's just out of reach. These small moments of forgetfulness can be unsettling at any age, but they often feel more concerning as we move into our 70s and beyond. A common assumption is that memory decline is simply an inevitable part of getting older, a process that can't be improved or influenced. Yet many experts who study aging and brain function suggest there are strategies we can employ to support sharper recall and clearer thinking. One approach that's becoming more popular is the use of gentle herbal remedies that may naturally bolster cognitive health. Addressing memory changes isn't just about remembering names or tasks, though that's certainly a comfort. There's a deeper sense of independence and confidence that comes from feeling mentally agile. For many of us, a lapse in memory can trigger worries about losing autonomy or becoming a burden to loved ones. The good news is that you're not helpless against these shifts. By exploring proven, time-honored methods to nurture brain health, you could discover new ways to stay focused, engaged, and vibrant as the years progress. Over the next few moments, you'll learn about 7 safe herbal remedies that many people find supportive for memory and overall cognitive function. These aren't miracle cures. There's no such thing, but they can be gentle allies when used alongside other healthy lifestyle habits. Each remedy has a long-standing history in various cultures, and many have been investigated by modern researchers for their potential to influence things like focus, mental clarity, and circulation to the brain. Of course, you should always speak with a healthcare provider before adding any new supplement to your daily routine, especially if you're on medications or managing a chronic condition. Yet exploring these options in partnership with trusted guidance could spark a change that helps you feel more mentally alive. I've spent years studying integrative health approaches for older adults, seeking out practical methods that are easy to implement and backed by at least some degree of supportive evidence. While I'm not a medical doctor, I've gathered insights from wellness experts, herbalists, and research trends that point toward possible benefits for seniors, particularly those looking to maintain cognitive function. These recommendations aren't about radical transformations or unrealistic promises. Instead, they're small, manageable shifts that can gradually add up. By the end, you may find yourself feeling excited to try a new tea, experiment with a calming aroma, or chat with your doctor about an herbal extract that suits your personal health plan. So settle in with a cup of your favorite warm beverage and let your curiosity lead the way. As we walk through each of these 7 herbal remedies, you'll see how they challenge the assumption that memory decline can't be influenced. You'll meet folks in their mid to late 70s who discovered simple, natural steps that help them feel more sharp and in control of their daily lives. My hope is that something here will spark a new approach for you too. After all, staying mentally engaged is a big part of continuing to live life on your own terms, no matter what your birth certificate says. Before we jump in, think about this. What if your memory in your 70s could be stronger than you ever expected? Let's find out together as we explore these gentle herbal allies that might just surprise you in the best possible way. First, consider an herb that has been the subject of countless discussions about memory support: ginkgo biloba. Many of us have heard of ginkgo, but there's a misconception that it's only for younger people hoping to get a boost before an exam or big presentation. It's easy to feel skeptical about whether an herb could really help an older adult's mind stay sharp. That's exactly what Dorothy, 72, believed for years. She used to say, "There's no herbal remedy that can turn back the clock in my brain." Yet when Dorothy started feeling more forgetful about her chores and had trouble keeping her bills organized, she decided to at least talk to her doctor about natural options. Dorothy's biggest misconception was that ginkgo would either fix her memory instantly or not work at all. What she discovered was something in between. Ginkgo appeared to help support healthy circulation, particularly blood flow, to the brain, which is a critical piece of the memory puzzle. Her healthcare provider explained that while ginkgo doesn't act like a magic wand, many people do notice subtle benefits over time. In Dorothy's case, after a few months of consistent use, she found herself feeling more alert in the afternoon, which was often her most sluggish time of day. Evidence-based insights suggest that ginkgo's antioxidant compounds may protect brain cells from oxidative stress, a process that can accelerate with age. Some preliminary research also indicates ginkgo's positive influence on cognitive function might be even more noticeable in seniors who make other healthy lifestyle changes, like staying physically active and keeping their minds stimulated with activities such as reading or puzzle solving. If you're curious about trying it, start by talking to a healthcare professional to determine an appropriate dose and to ensure it won't interact with your current medications. Since ginkgo may thin the blood, those on blood thinners or with bleeding disorders need extra caution. Many people choose to sip ginkgo tea or take a standardized extract. The physical benefit of this herb often relates to improved circulation, which can help your brain get the nutrients and oxygen it needs. Emotionally, feeling slightly clearer or more focused can boost your sense of confidence, like you've got a steady footing on your day again. Now, it's not a guarantee that you'll experience dramatic changes overnight, but that small shift, less of an afternoon slump or easier recall of details, can spark a feeling that you're proactively doing something good for yourself. Even Dorothy says she's no longer convinced aging memory challenges are untouchable, and that optimistic mindset alone can be a game changer. Moving on to a second herbal ally, you might be surprised to learn that there is a plant called Bacopa monnieri, known in some traditions as Brahmi. A lot of people assume that herbal approaches like these are exotic or hard to find. In truth, Bacopa is becoming more popular and can be found as a supplement in many health food stores. At 75, Paul initially dismissed the idea that any herb could help his frequent senior moments, especially something he'd never heard of. His daughter, a nurse, encouraged him to keep an open mind. The misconception Paul struggled with was the belief that memory lapses are irreversible. He thought, why bother trying anything new? This is just what happens when you're 75. But after hearing that Bacopa has been used in traditional practices to support clear thinking, he decided there was no harm in asking his healthcare team about it. Research on Bacopa suggests that it may help with the retention of new information and the speed at which we process thoughts. Although not everyone will feel the difference, some seniors report that words come to them more easily when they've been using Bacopa for several weeks or months. Paul's experience was subtle but meaningful. After about 8 weeks of taking Bacopa, with his doctor's guidance and a stable dosage, he noticed fewer awkward moments mid-sentence, and he felt more composed when trying to recall someone's name at social gatherings. Even if these improvements were modest, they gave him a renewed sense of agency. He began practicing crossword puzzles again, something he'd given up because he found it too frustrating. If you're thinking of exploring Bacopa, look for standardized extracts or talk to a knowledgeable herbalist about dosage. As with any supplement, quality matters, and it's best to buy from reputable brands. The physical benefits might be tied to how Bacopa influences certain brain chemicals involved in memory and learning. Emotionally, the reassurance that your mind can still adapt and improve can be profound. It's like realizing you have the power to keep learning, no matter your age. Now that we've covered 2 well-known memory supporters, I'd love to hear your thoughts so far. Have you ever tried ginkgo or Bacopa? Are you open to the idea, or do you have reservations? Taking a moment to reflect on these questions can help clarify your own intuition and comfort level, which is a critical part of making informed decisions about your health. Next on the list is rosemary, an herb many people think of only as a cooking ingredient for savory dishes. The misconception here is that if something is used in the kitchen, it can't possibly do anything for the brain. But consider Linda, 77, who has loved gardening her whole life. She always had rosemary in her herb patch for seasoning her soups, but she never realized it might also have cognitive benefits. She was shocked to learn that rosemary essential oil has been studied for its potential to enhance mental clarity when used in aromatherapy. Linda's skepticism was rooted in the idea that sniffing an herb couldn't possibly help her recall where she left her favorite gardening gloves. But one day her granddaughter gave her a small diffuser and some rosemary essential oil. Linda started diffusing the oil in her living room for about 10 minutes each morning. After a few weeks, she reported feeling a bit more energetic and focused during her daily chores. Was it entirely the rosemary? Perhaps it was also the calming ritual of taking a few minutes to breathe deeply and center herself. Regardless, it seemed to bolster her daily routine. Modern insights point to certain compounds in rosemary that may stimulate the nervous system. In aromatherapy, some evidence suggests the scent can improve alertness and mood, potentially leading to a clearer thought process. This is not a cure-all, but an example of how subtle shifts in your daily environment, like adding a fragrant reminder, might help keep the mind engaged. If you want to try rosemary for a gentle cognitive lift, you could start by growing a small plant on your windowsill, occasionally rubbing its leaves to release the aroma. Alternatively, a high-quality essential oil used in a diffuser for short sessions is another option. Physically, the stimulating scent can help you feel more awake, as if you've just stepped outdoors on a fresh morning. Emotionally, there's a comforting sense of familiarity in using a culinary herb, bridging the gap between the known and the new. Sometimes it's the simple daily rituals that create a sustained impact on how sharp and present we feel. Flowing from rosemary's aromatic benefits, another herb that may surprise you is sage. We often hear the phrase sage advice, but how about sage for memory? A common belief is that sage is only for seasoning holiday stuffing or for ceremonial smudging. Meanwhile, research has shown that specific species of sage, like Salvia officinalis and Salvia lavandulae, could have properties linked to cognitive support. Frank, 76, used to find that by late afternoon, his mind felt foggy. He'd read about sage extracts in a magazine aimed at healthy aging, but brushed it off as a passing trend. Frank's misconception was that anything beyond conventional medicine was just hype. He'd been reluctant to try new things since he was already taking medications for blood pressure and diabetes. However, when his primary care physician encouraged a more holistic approach to brain health, he opened up to the possibility. He began drinking a mild sage tea several times a week and occasionally using a sage extract under supervision to make sure it was safe given his conditions. It didn't transform him into a memory champion overnight, but he did notice a slightly steadier focus, particularly when reading or working on small DIY projects in his garage. The compounds in sage are believed to support the activity of neurotransmitters involved in learning and memory. That means it could potentially give your brain a bit of extra help in staying on task or recalling details. If you're intrigued, sage tea is widely available and easy to incorporate into your morning routine. Some folks also use fresh leaves in cooking or blend them into a tea with other herbs like mint. As with all herbal options, it's best to double-check with a healthcare provider, especially if you have any conditions where strong herbs might interfere. Physically, sage can act as a gentle stimulant, and it's often used to help ease digestive discomfort. Emotionally, adding a pleasant new flavor to your diet can feel like a small adventure, one that challenges the notion that life becomes dull as we age. We've covered 4 herbal allies so far. Each one offers a nuanced path to potentially enhancing mental clarity in everyday life. Is any particular herb catching your attention? Sometimes the simplest approach, like adding an herb you already enjoy in your kitchen, can be the easiest to adopt. Feel free to pause and jot down any questions or thoughts you might want to research further or discuss with a professional. Let's look at another herb that might not be as well known, Gotu kola. This leafy plant has been used in various Asian traditions to promote vitality and cognitive function. A common assumption is that herbs with exotic-sounding names are automatically too strong or too risky for seniors. But Helen, 78, who spent a year living abroad with her son's family, became curious about Gotu kola after seeing how commonly it was brewed into tea in that region. Helen's misconception was that anything unfamiliar would be incompatible with her long-standing health routine. Yet she noticed that locals of all ages sipped Gotu kola tea. They credited it with helping them stay mentally sharp. Upon returning home, she asked her pharmacist about possible interactions with her heart medications. After getting the green light to try a small dose in tea form, she found it soothing in the evenings. Over time, Helen felt that this gentle herbal tea reduced her occasional restlessness and helped her focus better on her nightly reading. From an evidence-based standpoint, Gotu kola is often studied for its potential to support circulation and possibly help manage anxiety or mental fatigue. Physically, if you experience mild stress that clouds your ability to concentrate, the relaxing nature of a Gotu kola tea might help you settle your mind and make it easier to focus on tasks. Emotionally, exploring a new herb can bring a sense of cultural connection and curiosity. a reminder that we can keep learning and expanding our horizons. If you decide to consider go-to cola, remember that more is not always better. Start small and pay close attention to how you feel. If you don't like the taste of the tea, some people take it in capsule form. Always keep an open line of communication with healthcare professionals, especially if you have complex medical needs. The key is to integrate such herbal options into a balanced routine, rather than viewing them as a magic fix. Moving right along, it's worth discussing lemon balm, an herb with a light, citrusy scent often used to calm the mind. Many seniors assume that managing memory issues is all about revving up the brain. But what if a feeling of calm is actually just as important for clear thinking? That's what 73-year-old Marcus discovered. He'd been worrying so much about his occasional forgetfulness that anxiety itself was making it harder for him to focus. Every time he couldn't remember a name, he'd become flustered, which only made it more difficult to think straight. Marcus's misconception was that his memory issues were purely the result of age-related decline. In reality, the stress and anxiety he felt about losing his memory were contributing to the problem. After reading about lemon balm's calming properties, he decided to experiment with a bedtime tea ritual. Over several weeks, he noticed a subtle but meaningful shift. Not only did he sleep better, but he also woke up feeling more mentally refreshed. That sense of calm carried into his daily life, reducing the frantic feeling he'd get during memory lapses. Modern insights show that lemon balm can help promote relaxation, possibly supporting a more settled mental state. When you're less anxious, your brain is better able to store and retrieve information. Physically, a soothing cup of lemon balm tea can also ease mild digestive troubles, an added bonus for many seniors. Emotionally, the relief of tension allows for clearer thinking. For Marcus, it was the difference between panicking over a forgotten word and calmly retracing his mental steps until it resurfaced. If you want to try lemon balm, you can find it in teas or as a gentle herbal supplement. It pairs well with herbs like chamomile. Again, check for any interactions if you're on medications, especially those for thyroid issues, as lemon balm may not be suitable for everyone. But for many seniors, this calming herb serves as a reminder that a clear mind often begins with a calm heart. We've almost reached the end of our exploration, but before we dive into the final herb, I'd love for you to consider your own stress levels. Do you think anxiety or worry could be contributing to any memory slips you experience? Sometimes the answer lies not just in boosting the mind, but in nurturing it by reducing stress. Finally, let's turn our attention to turmeric, a spice often lauded for its vibrant color and anti-inflammatory properties. You might think turmeric is all about joint health or digestive support, but some emerging studies suggest it could offer cognitive benefits as well. Harold, 79, used to rely on daily pain relievers for his arthritic knees. In an effort to reduce inflammation naturally, he started cooking more with turmeric and even tried a turmeric supplement. He was surprised to notice that, beyond feeling a bit more comfortable in his joints, he also felt mentally more awake. Harold's misconception was that any improvements he felt were probably just a placebo. Yet as time passed, he continued to feel sharper on days when he used turmeric. Scientists believe curcumin, a key compound in turmeric, has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects that might support brain health by reducing cellular stress. Of course, there's still much to learn. Not everyone will feel a cognitive difference from turmeric, and it's crucial to be consistent if you want potential benefits. Harold added turmeric to his soups and stews, made golden milk with warm milk and a sprinkle of black pepper, which helps the body absorb curcumin, and sometimes took a standardized curcumin capsule. He felt it was a valuable addition to the other memory-supportive steps he'd already implemented, like daily walks and regular social activities that kept his brain engaged. Physically addressing inflammation can create a healthier internal environment for the entire body, including the brain. Emotionally, seeing any level of improvement, even if modest, can inspire hope and encourage additional healthy choices. If you're interested in exploring turmeric for brain support, you can start with simple dietary additions. Try adding it to roasted vegetables or blending it into a smoothie. Just be mindful if you're on blood thinners or have gallbladder issues, as turmeric can sometimes exacerbate those conditions. It's always wise to get personalized advice for your unique situation. We've now explored 7 herbal allies, some you may have heard of, others that might be entirely new to you. Each one challenges a common assumption about aging and memory decline. From ginkgo's circulatory support to turmeric's anti-inflammatory properties, these remedies offer a range of gentle approaches you can consider. They're no replacement for a balanced lifestyle that includes regular physical activity, mental stimulation, a wholesome diet, and professional medical guidance. Yet each herb has the potential to be a helpful piece in the puzzle, nurturing not just your cognitive health, but also the sense of confidence and self-efficacy that comes from caring for yourself holistically. Think about which of these 7 herbs resonates most with you. Is it ginkgo's circulation boost, bacopa's memory retention promise, rosemary's uplifting aroma, sage's neurotransmitter support, go-to cola's calming vitality, lemon balm's gentle anxiety relief, or turmeric's anti-inflammatory punch? Whichever you choose, remember that consistency, patience, and open communication with your healthcare team are key to seeing if it really suits your body and lifestyle. There's genuine power in small changes, and the journey to support your memory can begin with something as simple as a cup of tea or a fragrant whiff of an essential oil. By exploring these safe, time-honored herbal allies, you're taking an active role in your well-being, a step that, in itself, can renew your energy and sense of possibility. With each mindful sip or soothing scent, you reinforce the belief that aging doesn't have to mean a steady decline in clarity or independence. Of course, it's natural to feel a bit uncertain about trying something new. Perhaps you're worried about interactions with your current medications, or you're cautious about expecting too much. That's a healthy skepticism. Just let that curiosity lead to well-informed questions rather than shutting the door on potential benefits. When you approach herbal remedies with realistic hopes and proper professional guidance, you honor your body's capacity to adapt and thrive. Even though none of these herbs can single-handedly guarantee a sharper mind, the cumulative effect, when combined with a proactive, balanced lifestyle, can be meaningful. Imagine waking up each day with a greater sense of clarity, feeling less scattered, or noticing that the words come to you a little more easily in conversation. Picture yourself confidently tackling puzzles, remembering appointments, or sharing a favorite story with loved ones without struggling for details. Time is precious. By choosing to explore and possibly incorporate these herbal options now, you're giving yourself an opportunity to see tangible changes sooner rather than later. There's value in making a decision today that may reward you weeks or months down the road. When you care for your mind, you're preserving not just memory, but also the essence of who you are, your stories, your wisdom, and your relationships with family and friends. If you feel inspired, here are a few ways you can keep the momentum going. At the most basic level, you could start by researching one herb that piqued your interest. Maybe you try a simple tea or essential oil to see how your body responds. For those ready to dive deeper, consider scheduling a conversation with a healthcare professional who respects both conventional and integrative approaches. They can provide personalized guidance on dosages, potential interactions, and reputable product brands. If you really want to go all in, keep a brief journal of any changes in your daily mental clarity or memory performance. Tracking these observations can help you and your provider assess whether a given herb is making a difference over time. As you move forward, remember that you have far more influence over your cognitive well-being than you might realize. No matter how many candles were on your last birthday cake, your brain is still capable of growth and adaptation. Even simple lifestyle shifts, like trying a new herbal infusion or practicing a short mindfulness exercise, can spark positive change. You might even find a new favorite routine that adds a sense of pleasure and ritual to your day. It's your life, your mind, and your choice. Embracing even one of these safe, gentle herbal remedies can be a valuable step toward preserving what matters most: the ability to connect, engage, and remain confident in your own abilities. And in the grand adventure of aging, that sense of empowerment can make all the difference. Let this be your friendly nudge to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep believing in your innate resilience. You've got a world of wisdom behind you, and plenty of new possibilities ahead.